This video will outline the setup process for how to utilize the discussion tool in a very different way. Obviously, normally a discussion tool would be used for online discussions between students and teachers, but this actually makes it so that it becomes a private journaling tool where students actually get their own private topics that only the teacher can see. And this can be used in a variety of different ways. For example, it could be used as a weekly learning log where students, really leverage that assessment as piece and reflect on their learning throughout the week and what struggles they may have had and successes and those types of things. And they reflect weekly on that. You could also use it as a process log where they're maybe doing some sort of large project, and this is where they actually kind of journal their process throughout, both their struggles, their successes, their questions, all of those types of things. And the teacher will actually see that process unfold through this sort of private journal that this setup creates. It could even be used as a feedback tool where the teacher, maybe it's a lab feedback tool in science, where the teacher actually provides their lab feedback right through this tool, totally bypasses the assignment piece, and it just becomes kind of a different long form descriptive feedback piece, a tool. So in order to set this up, we're not going to click on discussions. We're actually going to go to edit course, and we're going to go down to groups. Groups is going to let us create a restriction so that each student gets their own private topic. And this is the way to do it. And the nice thing is Brightspace has actually created a pretty quick and easy way to do it through groups, where we're actually going to be able to do everything right through this tool. So click on groups, and you're going to create a new category of groups. Now for this video, I'm going to use the example of a weekly learning log. So I'm going to say this is my weekly learning log groups. Now a group is actually only going to have one kid in each group essentially, so that way they get their own discussion, and it's restricted to each of those groups, which again only has one student. For a description, you can write no one sees this but yourself. You might outline what exactly it is, especially if you are using a variety of groups throughout your VLE shell. Now this next one's the most important. It's basically asking you, well, what kind of group do you want me to create? Do you want me to just make a set of groups based on a number? 5, you have 20 students and create 5 groups, so I'll put 4 random kids in each one. Obviously, we're not doing that. We're going to go down to single user member specific groups. Click there. And we're going to scroll past advanced properties right down to create workspace. We're going to click on set up discussion areas. This is that nice piece that Brightspace has added in for a really quick setup process. We're going to click there. And all it's asking you is, well, where do you want me to, create these groups? What forum? If you've never created if you haven't gone in and created the forum yet, if you click it, there's nothing in it. So we're going to create the forum right here, right within this window. Click on new forum, and I would name it based on the assignment. So weekly learning logs. If you scroll down, there is another description piece. This one the students do see. So my suggestion is you actually put the assignment in here. So if it's a Word document, you could just go to attach stuff and just attach the Word documents. They always have it. I have my questions all ready to go right here. So I basically want these students to answer these 4 questions every week, maybe over the weekend, or whatever you want for when it's due. But they go through a week of learning and they answer these questions each week. Okay, so the students will now see it. And the reason I do that too, you could obviously just have it as an assignment sheet or something like that. But the more you provide those questions in a variety of different places, the more obviously it will get rid of those excuses that they couldn't find them or that type of thing. As I'll show you, it puts the questions then front and center for the students. We're going to press save. So now we've created that forum. Just in terms of phrasing, Brightspace uses forum as sort of the overall major subject of the discussion. Think of it as it's basically a major umbrella piece that all of your individual journals are going to go for each student. Okay, we're going to scroll down. We're not going to set up any lockers or any assignments. We're going to press save, and it's going to bring us to a option here where it's essentially asking, okay, how do you want me to set the groups up? The first one will create a new topic for each student to be able to post in. The second creates a topic where it then makes a thread within the topic for each student. I've tried both. I would absolutely click on this first one. I think that this one looks a lot cleaner. It's a lot easier to navigate as the teacher, and even as the student, it looks better and is easier to use. So we're going to click on that first one, create next. It's now making all of those discussion topics for each student. Press done. And we're going to go down. We're back on this original page and press save. And at this point, you've actually almost completely set it up. Just to show you, this is what it's now automatically done. It's created a group for under the weekly learning log groups. It's created a group for each student with only the student in that group. And then it's created a different topic in the discussion for each student so that, again, only they can have access to their individual topic discussions. Just to show you then the discussion area, here it is. Again, this is that nice piece that because we have it there, the students can actually see it each time they go into discussions to remind them of the questions they're answering. And here, under this forum, is each of the individual private journals, let's call them, for each student. Just to give you an idea of what it looks like for the student, let's go in as a student. So let's go in as Clark Kent here. So let's say this is in the first or second week of the course, and Clark is ready to reflect on his learning and sort of what he's been struggling with and what he's succeeded with. He goes to discussions. This is probably something you'd want to show to your students on that first or second week, just the overall layout in class. Here again is why we put those questions. So maybe he's lost the assignment sheet or whatever. It's all right there. He now knows these are the 4 things I need to answer. And as you can see, he can only see his discussion topic. So he clicks on it. In order to post, he just needs to go to start a new thread. For each, in this example, for each learning log each week, he's going to start a new thread and then title that thread. You could, totally depends on what you want. You could have them date it for each week. You could just have them title it like week 1 reflection, and then next week, week 2, totally up to you how you want them to title it so that you can keep track. And then this is where they will respond to those questions. So they would just type out their answers, obviously. And obviously you could decide whether it's full sentences or if point form's fine, totally up to you, but that's where they can type it. Now, the other nice piece of this, though, is they don't have to only respond in written format. We're often very good at collecting written feedback for a variety of different things, but it's harder to sit down one-on-one with each student and maybe have them verbally reflect and that type of thing. Well, this is where the VLE comes in and sort of unlocks that. If they didn't want to type and instead they actually wanted to record a video of themselves reflecting on those 4 questions, all they would need to do is click on the insert stuff, go up to add video note, and it opens up a recorder where they're actually able to record up to a 30-minute. You could obviously put a time limit if you wanted to on it, or you maybe don't mind, and it's fine if they reflect for 10 minutes. All the student needs to do is make sure that whatever browser they're using, they allow it to be able to use their camera and microphone, and the image will show up here and they can start a new recording. Once they're done, they would insert it, and it's nice because it just goes right in line in their discussion post for you to be able to play right in the VLE without having to download the video or worry about different types of codecs or the right formats or any of that type of stuff. It all happens within the VLE environment. So let's assume Clark decided he actually wants to write this one. He writes all his answers out. He can also put pictures in. So if he goes here, he can click on insert image. So maybe in his first 2 weeks, he did a science lab and he was encouraged by his teacher to actually take a few photos of the process of this lab so that they could use those photos in their reflection. He could put those photos in and kind of describe what he learned. Maybe he takes a photo of something he really struggled with, a certain piece of equipment or something that didn't work correctly. So he can actually insert the photos as well. You could link out to websites. There really is an endless amount of multimedia connections that the students can bring into their reflection pieces. Once they're done, they go to post, and that's it. That's available for the teacher to then be able to see. So I'll go in back as the teacher, go to discussions. Because I'm in as the teacher, I can see all of the different ones, and I can see that Clark has actually posted. I just click on that number 1 there, and there is his discussion post right there for me to be able to read. The other nice thing is, depending on the time you have for the week, you can reply to it. You could actually have a few notes about his learning and actually reply. Same thing applies too. You could also do a video note. So you can go in and actually insert a video note of you reflecting so that the students get a variety of different descriptive feedback, not just written, but also video feedback from you as well. And that is the major piece. If there is any interest, you can also set this up once we're in the discussion area. If you only want this to be available during certain times, you can actually go up to this arrow right here and go to Edit Forum, and there's a little restrictions button, and this will actually let you have different unlock dates that you can set each week so that it's only available maybe on Friday night to Sunday night or that type of thing. So you can actually have it unlock at certain times during each week. You can even get into it if you really want to use these as an assessment piece. So maybe you have learning logs that run all throughout your course, and the learning logs add up as sort of a process and are 5% of your culminating mark based on that assessment as throughout your course. You are able to do that. You would just go right to your different pieces. You'd actually have to go into the topic, go to edit topic, go to assessment, and you're able to create a new grade item right there and actually set it up. You can add a rubric if you wanted, and that way you can assess different ones. Or maybe you don't do that. You just, holistically respond to them throughout the year and then have a rubric at the end that you fill out either in the VLE or in person. But that's the simple process in setting it up and using the discussion tool in a very different way to get into more of an assessment as piece or more of an assessment for learning through process.